Welcome everyone. I decided not to sleep. It is now 2:30 something in the morning, and instead I'm recording this thing. It is a ThinkPad, and it's probably one of the worst ThinkPads out there actually. IBM made a very reliable laptop back in the early 90s, and then Lenovo took the ThinkPad name, and now, they're now Lenovo laptops instead of IBM, whatever. It's not that interesting. This one, in particular, is not the usual ThinkPad. I mean, well, it kind of is, but, it's slightly worse than the rest. So, for an even briefer history, there was this trend that started back in the late 2000s where they would introduce cheaper computers to the markets known as netbooks and nettops. And that was genuinely a pretty good idea, although the execution had a lot to be desired. This laptop right here was basically a product of the nettop craze. A lot of these nettops in particular, they did not become so popular once the iPad hit the scene, and it was basically more powerful than any of these ever have. But, here, anyways, enough about history. Let's take a look at this thing. This model has a dead battery, so, which means that if I want it to work, I'd have to go down over here and plug her in. Little funny story on how I got this thing, or how I ended up getting this thing, was I had decided to drink. Then I went on eBay, and then I saw, ooh, wow, laptop for $25, what a complete bargain, and I bought it. This thing is a drunk purchase. Oh, wow, that's great. Okay, so, yeah, that's another thing, is that usually, whenever I want to use this thing, it just goes straight into the BIOS. So here, I'm just gonna reset defaults. But here, let's take a look at this first. What do we got going on here? So we have an AMD Athlon Neo processor MV40. What the fuck that is, I don't know either. I've never heard of this CPU model before. It has 4 gigs of RAM, which is surprising given what is actually in this thing. We'll get more into that later. But for now, we're just gonna go on ahead. Given that it's a ThinkPad, it was only... How could I possibly not install Arch Linux on it, really? Alright, so we are at the login, so, I'm just gonna go ahead and type in my thing. Alright, the lane... Yeah, I did a little bit of customizing during the middle of all of this. So, let's have a look here, shall we? This has one thread. It has a one-threaded CPU, and it runs super hot, and it's really damn slow too. AMD had successfully replicated a net burst processor somehow. I don't know how they managed to do that, but yeah, this thing has 4 gigs of RAM, and it can actually go past 8 from what I've heard, interestingly enough. So yeah, as you can see, I have the KDE desktop environment, which probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense for a system like this, but it's whatever. Okay, so normally when it comes to internet surfing or going on the web, whatever, normally opening a tab of Internet Explorer or Firefox would take at least 2 or 3 seconds. If you have a decent system like the HP thing, which has a Core 2 Duo, we're gonna see how long it takes to open a tab, just one tab of Firefox. Okay, so obviously, so let's just try to use this as it was designed, which is obviously for browsing the web, because, you're not supposed to do anything else with it, right? You're only supposed to do web surfing or office work, whatever. Just basic shit like that. You're not supposed to actually use it for YouTube or gaming, right? So let's try... Here, let's go on Reddit. That sounds like a good place to go to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is basically not that much different from the actual netbook experience. Even with, like, the atoms. I mean, the atoms are a bit worse. They're much worse, actually, but, like, this isn't that better either. This is, like... Golly, that must have been, like, 30 seconds just to load this. This is, like, not good. This is so bad. Here, let's take a look at the temps real quick. Let's open up console. Let's open up BTOP. Just how bad is this, really? Look at 70C. Yes, a very healthy temperature for your computer to be running. 70C degrees, just from doing, you know, web browsing, you know, whatever. Nothing too intensive, right? So yeah, overall, not a great experience just from web browsing. Like, you know, the one thing that it was basically designed for, but the internet is just so damn bloated nowadays. It's like, it can't flourish. It can't flourish in the environment that it was designed for. And this is the ultimate thing with all of these other netbooks, not just this ThinkPad, but like any other netbook that was released around this era. It simply cannot handle. There is one silver lining for the ThinkPad, is that it has a very nice keyboard. So, like, you know, look at this. And that's another thing about, like, ThinkPads, is that they're rumored, or at least a lot of people like them because, like, they have a really nice keyboard. Yeah, I think I can attest to that. So, let's see. So, yeah, this is, like, a really nice feeling keyboard right here. That's really the only thing it really has going for it, though. Okay, so this is YouTube at 480p, or what seems to be 480p. It's doing not terribly. It's actually holding up pretty nice. Well, I mean, with that being said, I mean, 480p is not something to be impressed at whatsoever. Especially now that, like, cheap-ass laptops are mostly capable of doing 1080p video now. At least today. I mean, fucking hell, man. You could probably find a better used ThinkPad for not that much more money. Yeah, it seems to be holding up surprisingly well. As long as you're not doing anything, this thing is terrible with any kind of multitasking. Like, just moving the mouse and it starts to get, like, all jittery. You're just like, ugh. Like, it was doing fine and now it's not doing so fine. Like, moving the mouse causes frame drops because, like, you know, it requires it to do something else other than just doing the video. Alright, I think our experience with Firefox should basically set the tone for how the rest of this system is going to perform. We're going to get Steam opening, and we're going to see if we can try to run any kind of game. Or just any games outside of Vampire Survivors. Okay, well, we've got Steam open, and Steam's having a real bad time, you can tell. In fact, now would be a perfect time to have my very early morning breakfast, which includes Ultra PC Ultra Peachy King. I have not tried this yet. This was a part of a 12-pack, so... Okay. Alright, now we can finally move on. I'm telling you, man, if I didn't get that SSD for the HP thing, this would have been basically almost the same loading experience. Except this one would still be even worse because it's running on one thread. This is... Oh shit. Oh, it's gonna be so bad. Oh jeez. Oh jeez, it's real bad. Well, in case you're wondering what the absolute worst experience for playing this game is, I think I make a pretty good case for myself. God, the camera that's being recorded on this can play Vampire Survivors better than this. I mean, granted it's a flagship phone, but still. Like, come on. Come on, it's asking for so little. It should not be struggling this bad. Okay, no, I'm dead. 8 minutes 40 seconds. It could not take the heat. Alright, well, let's start a new game. Oh, here we go. Let's just go straight to the training room. Fuck it. What? Half-Life 1 is running better than Vampire Survivors. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, well, I'm noticing a little bit of lag, but honestly, it's not doing terrible. Yeah, wouldn't you know it? Apparently it can run Half-Life, but it can't run Vampire Survivors, or it can barely run Vampire Survivors. But Half-Life 1, no trouble. I have returned. It is now, I think it's 11:30. I want to do one more test. I was supposed to end the video a lot earlier, but I just want to do one more, just to be sure if there's anything that's worth redeeming about this thing. Here, okay, let's try old HF, you know, old HF. Alright, it's not gonna cheat that much, honestly. I mean, not if we're gonna be streaming it off my main PC. Okay, so it can technically stream games. It's not doing it well. Well, I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it's sure bad. Alright, so welcome to my house. You know, it's pretty small. This is up in New York City from one of the suburbs, so we're just gonna go on ahead in. Oh, okay, I guess, alright, thanks for ruining my bit. ThinkPad X100E. Oh, jeez. Overall, this thing is a real hunk of shit and is absolutely not worth using, especially in the time where the internet is so bloated. Like, it can't even handle the thing it was designed for anymore. That's just, like, I will guarantee that an old iMac, like a first-gen iPad, would absolutely demolish these things. And the thing is that the iPads had weaker hardware too, which made these things look even more embarrassing when given the fact that iPads were snappier, faster, and just overall superior in every single way for what is basically a cheaper computer. So yeah, there's not really a whole lot to rescue here in the first place. I mean, it's a cool little... I mean, I can't even use it as a cool little Linux thing because I can't even install basic shit like OBS. Like, it just stops midway. Like, look at this. So, here we go. We hit yes. And it can't even handle it. It literally will not handle it. Like, it's just complete stop right here. And like, I literally can't even use this as an Arch Linux little thing. And this is basically the reason why I bought the HP thing, because it's basically superior to this thing. I mean, granted, it's a big-ass desktop. And I mean, yeah, you can technically upgrade it to something better. Like, you know, you can upgrade the RAM or the hard drive. But that's not really going to help a whole lot with this thing. And I'm even more confused about why they even allowed it to have 4 gigs, let alone 8 gigs. But, yeah, anyways, that's basically about it about this thing. I don't really have anything else to add first, and I also really don't like concluding videos. Bye.